Hi, my name is Nur Najla Syabiella Binti Hasnizam, and today I will presenting Critical Incident 1 based the congee stall routine from the film How to Make a Million Before Grandma Dies. So for the scene overview, this scene takes place after M moved in with his terminally ill grandmother, Amma, in an attempt to secure her inheritance. To prove his devotion, M becomes her so-called full-time assistant at her traditional congee stall in Talat Blue. So the scene captures the high-pressure environment of the morning rush, where the generational gap between them becomes very clear. Amma, a seasoned and disciplined entrepreneur, shows no passion for M's lack of skill and slow pace. Harsh criticism. Description of communication aspect negative. So during the high-pressure morning rush, the grandmother, Amma, used destructive verbal feedback to scold M when he fails to scoop the congee correctly. This represents a failure in professional mentoring, where the supervisor used public shaming rather than private instruction, creating a tense and also intimidating atmosphere for the subordinate. So for the explanation using communication theory, this situation can be explained using communication climate theory, which is the grandmother creates a defensive climate through evolution. By using you language, such as calling M useless or accusing him of wasting ingredients, she attacks his character instead of addressing the specific technical error. As a result, this triggers a defensive reaction in M, causing him to shut down mentally rather than learn the correct procedure. For the causes and effects, the cause of this behavior is the grandmother's high stakes in running her business, combined with the lack of formal training provided to M. She used criticism as a shortcut for discipline. The fact is that M feels demotivated and embarrassed in front of customers. This slows his learning process as he becomes more focused on avoiding her anger than mastering the task. For the recommendation and also improvement, the grandmother should shift to constructive feedback by using specific descriptive comments that focus on the action rather than M's personality. A pre-shift briefing should also be conducted during a quiet period so M can understand the standard operating procedure before the rush begins. The grandmother shouts at M for wasting ingredients and criticizes his lack of speed. This harsh verbal reprimand clearly shows how criticism without empathy or instruction becomes a barrier to workplace efficiency. Unprofessional workplace hostility. Description of communication aspect negative. This incident reflects a power-distance relationship where extreme hierarchy allows the supervisor to bypass professional boundaries and use coercive power to enforce standards. Using face negotiation theory, the grandmother's action, such as shouting and slapping M in public, caused him to lose face in front of customers. This creates a defensive communication climate where the subordinate becomes too intimidated to ask questions. Next, explanation using communication theory. The extreme power distance enables the grandmother to ignore professional boundaries. The public physical and also verbal aggression damage M's social standing and self-respect, reinforcing a hostile work environment. So for the causes and also effects, the cause remains the grandmother's high business pressure and lack of structured training for M. The effect is that M experiences extreme psychological stress and loss of confidence. The physical aggression creates an immediate barrier to trust and increases the likelihood of mistakes caused by fear. Recommendation for improvement. Professional boundaries must be established, including a no-contact policy, as physical aggression has no place in the professional setting. Corrective feedback should be given privately, away from customer, to preserve M's dignity. Example from the video excerpt. In the excerpt, M is seen watching his grandmother's hands closely to identify the next task, while she used sharp pointing, gesture, and a frown to direct him. Professional work ethic. Description of communication aspect positive. Despite the extreme heat and physical exhaustion, the grandmother maintains high standards for every bowl of congee served. She refused to take shortcuts even when the customer line is so long. This reflects a positive workplace value related to integrity, control, quality control, and professional dedication. For explanation using communication theory, this incident related to professionalism and work ethics in the workplace. The grandmother demonstrates high context communication, where her action communicate expectation of excellence more strongly than words. For the causes and effects, the cause is her lifelong dedication to her craft and belief that her reputation depends on product quality. The effect is strong customer loyalty and developing respect for the dignity and difficulty of manual labor. Recommendation for improvement: this should be used a mentoring moment where the grandmother verbally explains the importance of quality and adopts the same level of dedication. And for the example from the video accept, the clip shows that grandmother measuring ingredient for the final bowl as carefully as the first, demonstrating her refusal to compromise standard. So for the conclusion, in this scene shows that efficiency in a high-pressure workplace cannot be sustained through intimidation or harsh criticism. True professional success and stable relationships are achieved by fostering a supportive communication climate where responsibility is shown through integrity, sincerity, and dependable action. Thank you.